Good morning, grade 7 learners. Welcome to another episode of Valenzuela Facebook Live. We are now in lesson 7 of quarter 2. Are you ready for another day of exciting and interesting journey of learning science? Then if yes, please click the heart reaction button to start our exciting discussion. Great! Our most essential learning competency today is you should be able to predict the effect of changes in abiotic factors on the ecosystem. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to predict the possible effects of changes in the number of one population to another population living in the same ecosystem and explain the effects of human activities on a balanced ecosystem. Next is to identify and explain the factors that can affect the abiotic component of the ecosystem. As we proceed with our session, I want you to keep in mind these important reminders. First, prepare your pen, paper, and module with you to write down the important details from our discussion. Second, focus on the discussion. And lastly, post only the class-related question on the comment section. Before we continue with the discussion, let us have a game first. Are you familiar with the game 4 pigs and 1 word? That's good. With this game, all you need to do is to guess what the word is by looking at 4 pictures with 1 common word. You will be given 15 seconds to answer. Use the comment section to participate. Are you ready? Then, let us start. Here is the first set of pictures. Your time starts now. Time is up. Now, let us find out the correct answer. The correct answer is great job, ecosystem. Let us have the second set of pictures. Your time begins now. Time is up. Okay, the right answer is very good, biotic. Here is the third set of pictures. Your 15 seconds starts now. Time is up. If your answer is abiotic, you are awesome. Let us have the fourth set of pictures. You can start now. What is your answer? Predation. Well done, learners. Here is the fifth set of pictures. You may start now. Time is up. What is the word being described? If your answer is deforestation, you are excellent. How about this last set of pictures? Your time begins now. What is the correct answer? Great! Earthquake! You did a great job, learners. You got all the correct answers. Ecosystem, biotic, abiotic, predation, deforestation, and earthquake. Those are some important words that we will use all throughout our discussion for today. From the previous discussion, you have learned about the ecosystem, where it is a community or group of living organisms that live in and interact with each other in a specific environment. You also learned the two components of an ecosystem, which are the biotic and the abiotic factors. You discovered that biotic are the living factors, while the abiotic are the non-living factors. Some examples of biotic factors are animals, plants, fungus, bacteria, and other organisms, while the examples of abiotic factors are sunlight, water, soil, rocks, temperature, and air. You also learned about the 5 types of symbiotic relationship found in the ecosystem. These are the competition, predation, mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. Today, we will discuss the effects of changes in abiotic factors on the ecosystem. As we all know, biotic factors depend on abiotic factors for their survival and growth. Biotic components cannot live without the abiotic components. And abiotic components do not depend on biotic factors for their existence. But the question is, what do you think will the possible effects of changes in the number of one population to another population living in the same ecosystem? You can comment down below your answer. All populations on Earth have limits to their growth. Density-dependent limiting factors tend to the biotic related as opposed to physical features of the environment. Some common examples of density-dependent limiting factors are competition within the population, predation, disease and parasites, and lastly, waste accumulation. Have you ever imagined one population competing with each other for limited resources? Let us now discuss competition within the population. When a population reaches a high density, more individuals will try to use the same quantity of resources, like what you can see in the video. The population of deer gets large enough, the limited amount of food may no longer be sufficient, leading to competition among the deer. Because of the competition, some deer may die of starvation. Second is predation. How does predation limit population growth? Higher density populations may attract predators that would not bother with a sparser population. When these predators eat individuals from the population, they decrease their numbers but may increase their own. Next are the diseases and parasites. How do disease and parasites affect the ecosystem? The disease is more likely to break out and result in deaths when more individuals are living together in the same place or habitat. Parasites are also possible to spread under these conditions. Lastly, we have waste accumulation. What do you think is the impact of waste accumulation in the ecosystem? High population densities can lead to the accumulation of harmful waste products that kills individuals or impair reproduction and reduce the population's growth. Density-dependent factors include the environmental resources needed by individuals of a population. Competition for food, water, and shelter results as the population density increases. The survival, health, and reproduction of individuals or organisms will be affected if they cannot acquire the basic requirements of life. Another question for you, class. Based on your experience, how do your activities or human activities affect our ecosystem? Key in your answer on the comment section. Human contributes greatly on how the environment changes, posing threats to both biotic and abiotic factors. Here are some of the ecosystem threats: pollution, deforestation, overpopulation, and industrialization. First is pollution. So how does pollution disrupt the ecosystem? This can lead to damage to the trees and the forest soils. Atmospheric nitrogen can reduce the biodiversity of plant communities and harm other aquatic life. Pollution is the introduction of harmful contaminants into air, water, or soil. These contaminants can have direct effects on entire ecosystems, making life more difficult for humans, plants, and animals. Second is deforestation. Is deforestation really that bad? What are the consequences of deforestation? Removal or depletion of trees results in climatic changes. The disappearance of wildlife, soil erosion, and greenhouse gases emissions. The loss of trees adversely affects every biological life in all possible ways. With time, these become more prominent to humankind as well as other species inhabiting this planet. Third is overpopulation. Why is overpopulation a problem for the ecosystem? Human overpopulation is among the most pressing environmental issues, silently aggravating the forces behind global warming. Due to these destructive activities, man has extracted more and more minerals from the earth. Animals have been hunted and plants have been disappeared. There has been the loss of biodiversity. These have led to ecological imbalance. Last is industrialization. So how does industrialization lead to environmental degradation? The industrialization not only brings economic developments but also loads of negative sides to mankind such as global warming, air pollution, and water pollution. In the second place, it also produces copious numbers of harmful gases that contribute to air pollution. Impacts from human activity on land and in the water can influence ecosystem profoundly. Climate change, ocean acidification, permafrost melting, habitat loss, eutrophication, air pollution, contaminants, and invasive species are among many problems facing ecosystems. My next question is, how does a change in the abiotic factors affect the population of organisms? Abiotic factors affect the ability of organisms to survive and reproduce. Abiotic limiting factors restrict the growth of populations. They help determine the types and numbers of organisms able to exist within an environment. Here are some examples of changes in abiotic factors. These are extreme temperature, earthquake, volcanic eruption, and severe weather. First is the extreme temperature. Do you have any idea what will happen when the temperature becomes extreme? Warmer temperature can also lead to a chain reaction of other changes around the world. That is because increasing air temperature also affects the oceans, weather patterns, snow and ice, and plants and animals. The warmer it gets, the more severe the impacts on the people and the environment will be. How about the earthquakes? How do earthquakes affect the ecosystem? Earthquakes can affect the ecosystem in different ways. They mostly damage a lot of things on the ground but can cause massive tsunamis in the sea. Earthquakes can also move land around and change the ecosystem and carry diseases to other places. It can cause death of living organisms like plants, trees, animals, including humans in their natural habitat. Next is a volcanic eruption. What could be the effect on the ecosystem when a volcano erupts? Volcanic eruption can result in the complete destruction of ecosystem close to the volcano. Extremely large volcanic eruptions can have global effects due to the release of large quantities of carbon dioxide and high-altitude aerosols. Volcanic gases like sulfur dioxide can cause global cooling, while volcanic carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, has the potential to promote global warming. Last is the severe weather. So, how can severe weather affect the ecosystem? Changes in the extreme weather and climate events, such as heat waves and droughts, are the primary way that most people experience climate change. Extreme weather such as hurricanes, torrential downpours, and droughts will become more frequent in phase with global warming. Consequently, this increases the risk for species extinction, especially in biodiverse ecosystems. ecosystems such as coral reefs and tropical rainforests. With a change in the biotic factors, some organisms may survive, some may create a new lifestyle to adapt to their environment, but some may be endangered, die, and worse, go extinct. Now, let us test your understanding. All you need to do is use the word bank to fill in the gaps and complete the paragraph. Let me read it first. Blank is a community or group of living organisms that live and interact with each other in a specific environment. Blank factors depend on blank factors for their survival and growth. Humans contribute greatly on how the environment changes, posing threats to both biotic and abiotic factors. With change in the abiotic factors, some organisms may blank. Some may create a new lifestyle to adapt to their environment, but some may be endangered, die, and worse, blank. I will give you 15 seconds to answer. Your time begins now. Time is up. Now, let us check if your answers are correct. Ecosystem is a community or group of living organisms that live and interact with each other and in a specific environment. Biotic factors depend on abiotic factors for their survival and growth. Humans contribute greatly on how the environment changes, posing threats to both biotic and abiotic factors. With change in the abiotic factors, some organisms may survive, some may create a new lifestyle to adapt to their environment, but some may endangered, die, and worse, go extinct. Great job, grade 7 learners! I am proud the way you participated today. It seems like you really understood the discussion. And to summarize the discussion, always remember that the abiotic factors will define which organisms are able or unable to live in a specified place. Biotic resources include every life forms in an ecosystem. These life forms rely on abiotic factors as they directly affect their growth, survival, and reproduction. Possible effects of changes in the number of one population to another population living in the same ecosystem are competition within the population, disease and parasites, predation, and waste accumulation. Human activities contribute greatly and affect ecosystems. Examples are pollution, deforestation, overpopulation, and industrialization. Abiotic factors that affect the population of organisms are extreme temperature, earthquake, volcanic eruption, and severe weather. So class, why is it important to maintain balance in an ecosystem? A balanced ecosystem represents a sustainable habitat of interdependent animals, plants, and microorganisms and their environment. Balanced ecosystems display efficient energy and material cycling and interconnectedness between primary procedures and predators. Ecosystem is important because it provides habitat to wild animals and plants. It supports various food webs and food chains. It regulates essential processes in ecology and support lives. Ecosystem recycles the nutrients between biotic and abiotic factors. And of course, it maintains the flow of energy with the help of the carbon cycle, water cycle, nitrogen cycle, and oxygen cycle. I hope you have learned a lot from our discussion for today. At this point, we will now proceed to our question and answer. I will give you 15 seconds to key in your questions on the comment section. Your time begins now. Okay, so we got a question from a student in Lawang Bato National High School. Ma'am, what would happen if there were no abiotic factors in an ecosystem? So, all biotic factors depend on abiotic factors. Water is needed to keep the chemical processes going in the organisms. Sunlight provides energy for the plants, trees, so animals or insects can eat them. Air is needed as a large container for the carbon dioxide and oxygen circle. So, if all that would be taken out, there is nothing left. All organisms would die shortly after the abiotic factors have disappeared. Our next question, it came from a learner of Malanday National High School. Ma'am, what happens if the ecosystem is not balanced? So, if something happens in an ecosystem, it can shift from a state of balance to a state of imbalance. Ecological imbalance is when a natural or human-caused disturbance disrupts the natural balance of an ecosystem. And our last question is from a student in Venturales National High School. Ma'am, why is it important to save our ecosystem? So, healthy ecosystems clean our water, purify our air, maintain our soil, regulate the climate, recycle the nutrients, and provide us with food. They provide raw materials and resources for medicines and other purposes. They are at the foundation of all civilization and sustained our economies. So thank you for those who ask questions. Other questions will be entertained by your teacher during your follow-up discussion. For your assignment, kindly answer the activities in your Week 7 Quarter 2 Science Learning Packet. For your second assignment, you're going to answer this one. You, as a student, what can you do to save and protect our ecosystem? As a student, I can help save and protect the ecosystem by blank. So here are the instructions. Complete the thought by expressing your own idea. This must be 2 to 3 sentences, and don't forget to use our hashtag #SaveEcosystem. Then post it on your Facebook account. It has been a very meaningful and interactive discussion. Thank Thank you for participating and for watching Valenzuela Science Live Stream. Have a great day.